Good evening. Mr. Chairman, the Consul General for Israel and Mrs. Ramin, Rabbi Pinchas Lipner and Mrs. Lipner, the Chief Rabbi Antwerp, Rabbi Kreisbert, rabbis, distinguished guests sitting here on the head table, ladies and gentlemen. I would like first to thank you, Rabbi Lipner, for inviting me here. You know Rabbi Lipner, when he came to see me in Jerusalem, I knew that I could not resist. Who can resist a rabbi, and who can resist Rabbi Lipner, especially? So during those days or weeks or months since I saw Rabbi Lipner, I had several telephone calls from Rabbi Lipner asking if I really going to come here. Rabbi, you are underestimating your strengths. I would not have dared not to come. It's not an easy thing to speak after rabbis. You know so much. Myself being a farmer, how can I speak after a rabbi, you know? But I should admit, Rabbi, I hope I'm not going to offend you, but when I was listening to those songs by those Jewish children, I felt that I don't know if I'll be able to add something. What one can add when he sees those children here in San Francisco, and we know the atmosphere in San Francisco, standing there in front of us and singing Israeli songs. Myself, I whispered at the rabbi ear and I asked if it would be possible to hear some more songs, but the children disappeared. I hope they are learning some Torah now, Rabbi. Being here for several hours, I was hearing the shouts of the people downstairs. I don't know if I may call them a mob downstairs in the street. The demonstrators in the street. I should admit I don't pay too much attention to those Arabs, their supporters, those anti-Semites that joined them. The Jewish people, during our long existence of 3,700 years, managed to overcome much more serious things than that group of people that were shouting there. But there were still two things which I believe we have to take very seriously. One, what the people were saying there. that new continuation of a new blood libel, the greatest lie that has been ever told about us in Israel, we the Jews being murderers. I must admit that as a Jew, I don't feel that I owe anything to anyone in this world. And I feel, and I'm completely convinced, that the rest of the world owes us, the Jews, so many things. But still, many of you, I'm sure, still remember, maybe from the 30s, those shouts that we heard today downstairs there. So not this group of people. We managed to overcome much more dangerous problems. But the lies, those blames, that should worry us. And that was another thing, which I think that we should remember. Together with the Arabs, this group of anti-Semites, there were some of our people who were collaborating with them. And we know through our history that even in the darkest days of the Jewish people, there were Jews that were collaborating, though few, but there were Jews that were collaborating with the most terrible enemies of the Jewish people. Even in the hardest and the most terrible years, 40 years ago, we could find some Jews that collaborated. Not many of them, few of them, but there were some Jews. And when I saw those Jews down there, standing in the same time, though not in the same group, but that doesn't make any difference, standing there with those Palestinians who were responsible for so much blood, standing together with them, I could not forget those Jews that were collaborating with the greatest enemies of the Jewish people. And I think that we have to remember those 2 points. I don't think that these people demonstrated here a few days ago after the murder of hundreds of American Marines by terrorists in Lebanon. American Marines and French soldiers. They were not demonstrating downstairs there, and not anywhere in the world. Not a word about it. They were not demonstrating during all those years when Jewish civilians in Israel and in many other places in the world were massacred by the PLO terrorists. No one of them demonstrated. No one of them. Of course, not the Arabs, not the anti-Semites, but not also those Jews collaborated today with them downstairs there. They were not demonstrating here or anywhere. when the children in Ma'alot, and you remember the tragic event, when school children were caught by terrorists, PLO terrorists from Lebanon, and after keeping them for several hours, they murdered 30 people, out of them 24 children, and wounded 90, out of them 66 children. They did not demonstrate here. They did not demonstrate in Israel, in the street. They were demonstrating recently in the last year, standing there demonstrating with all those slogans there, Begin murderer, Sharon murderer. Not a word about the children, not a word about the children of Ma'alot, not a word about the children of Moshav Avivim, not one word. Not about those victims, all civilians, that were slaughtered by them in that tragic event in the bus that was caught by a group of PLO terrorists coming from Lebanon, from the same place that we are holding now, landing and killing those people. They were not demonstrating then. They were not demonstrating. Last Friday, just a few days ago, when 30 Israeli soldiers were killed by terrorists, they were not demonstrating. And I think that should worry us. That should worry us. The Jews are collaborating. I know I'm a guest here, and guests should be very careful not to make any remarks. But may I talk to you as a Jew to Jews? That should not have happened here. It could not have happened in France. Jews will not allow that. I had an experience in Montreal just a few months ago, and Jews reacted immediately. That could not happen in New York and in many other places. And I think that as Jews, we have to take every way that democracy allows to prevent events like that. And I'm not speaking as somebody who was personally offended by that. Not at all. Not at all. I speak as a Jew, and I want to warn all of us that we cannot accept events like that. We cannot accept it.